Hello everyone, Logan from Curated Avalon, and today I have a new Moleskine journal in which to test the paper quality. This will be replacing my current Moleskine journal, and these I've been using for several years, all for the same project, which is why I am incredibly reluctant to switch them out. So I have goodness knows how many of these, just chock full of world building for a specific fantasy series, and it's more for my own benefit than anything, just to keep the same type of notebook regardless of the paper quality. If it got horrendous, I guess I'd have to swap, but for now it's workable. In the last notebook, the paper was fine. I did swab these in a previous video. The paper was just a little unusual. It's very thick for Moleskine paper, and it almost has kind of a vellum look to it. It was shinier. It was just very odd. It took the ink fairly well. I mean, I really didn't have that many complaints on that front. For whatever reason, my fountain pen nibs didn't love it very much, and my handwriting was incredibly sloppy. I don't know why, but that's kind of how that worked out. But it took the ink, so I really can't complain about it, but so much. But I have this new one to try. So I did get the correct notebook this time. This is the Sapphire Blue Extra Large Plain. And the back label is going to say, paper supporting responsible forestry. And this one is going to be made in Vietnam. So hopefully the paper will be decent. Of course, you get the reusable aspect of the band. I've never used them from the plain notebooks before. The limited edition ones, they would have really cute stuff on the back. I would use those little things from time to time. Okay, so it's much thinner, has a little bit more tooth than that paper, but feels pretty good. It does have that printing on the inside with their manifesto, which I think is ridiculous. I thought the extra piece of paper was a little ridiculous in the back, little pamphlet talking about it, but that's their branding and that was fine, but I do not appreciate it being printed on the inside of the notebooks. I don't see any point to it. So we have a yellow quality control sticker. I do like the way this paper feels more. It does kind of feel more like a sketch paper, so it might not take the ink quite as well. And I think I'm gonna go grab a paperweight. See if the rocker blotter that I got for Christmas will be heavy enough. Kind of close enough. So today I have my Vanishing Point, my Lamy All-Star in white silver, my Relic pens, Thomas Jefferson fountain pen, and my Pelikan Stressman in the anthracite. I love this one. So to start, I'll go ahead with my Vanishing Point, which I know is almost out. It's pretty much out of ink. So this has Dark Matter, which is from Noodler's ink. This is from the Manhattan Project. So if you're familiar with Oppenheimer, this is the ink that they used for that project. And I'm just going to do a quick fill. And of course, I did not grab a paper towel, so I'll be right back. I'll go ahead and swab dark matter. Yeah, this is not looking too promising. It's looking much like the paper I had. I can't remember if it was the notebook before this one or the notebook before that. It was like sketchbook paper and just it was horrible to write on it. Completely absorbed the ink and just, I don't know. It looks like, hold on a second, I've got that notebook close. So it looks like this bougie little notebook they came out with, I guess this was last year, and they released this line with like the Kaweco Sport fountain pens, but it had the worst paper I had ever had from a Moleskine. Ever, ever, ever. It looks like that. I never even used this because it was just so terrible. I will eventually, but yeah, incredibly expensive. I bought it just to try it out and see, and then after that I'm like, I'm not buying Moleskine products just to test them anymore. It's way too much of a gamble and way too expensive. It looks like that paper. I can see it feathering from here. That is highly distasteful. All right, so that's with dark matter. That's the ink I write with every day. This is going to be Diamine's Good Tidings from the Ink Vent calendar. This is that extreme sheen ink. Yeah, as I'm feeling with the cotton swab, it's like almost like sandpaper against it. Hopefully this still has ink in it. I've been using my pen so much over the last few days. You can really see that purple though. That really shows up nicely. So it's not altogether unpleasant to write on. It doesn't have a terrible feel. It just feels a little bit more toothy, which I don't prefer, but it doesn't feel terrible. So we've got a medium nib that writes a little fat with that vanishing point. And then the Pelican, this is a fine nib. It shouldn't be bleeding through. And this is actually a pretty good indicator as to the quality of paper. I don't really think we need a really good indicator given what we've got, but Rome Burning from Noodler's Ink, which is now called Rome, and then Writer's Blood from Diamine. They are two of the best inks for me to try to test the quality of paper. So one of the cool things about Rome is that it does have a yellow and a purple hue, and I love this. I need to clean this poor cap out. This was my fault. I dropped it. The ink went into the cap. I've been dropping a lot of pens lately, but the ink separates, and it's just so cool. I love this ink. Rome Burning, and this is the original label that it no longer has, and it's called Rome now. It's part of the red listed ink category, and I thought about that. I was like, I never finished reviewing all of the Noodler's red listed inks, so that is my goal for 2025, is to finish all of the reviews for the red listed inks from Noodler's. Ooh. That is not pretty. I really need someone who knows more about paper to tell me the differences in like why some absorb and some don't. Like that's just, I'm fascinated by it. The different processes there and like why this would be just completely soaking it up. It didn't go through to the other paper. I'll give it that. Like, that's fairly impressive. And this pen is from Relic Pens. If you check them out on Instagram, I really love this pen. It's a little long for me, but it doesn't bother me. But for like extensive writing, it feels a little long, but it's so comfortable. It's one of my favorite nibs. I don't know what Patrick did to this nib, if he did anything at all, but it's just lovely to write with. And it is a medium. I've never seen Rome Burning look that color before. It's just all the colors, they've completely feathered out. They're maybe the ugliest versions of themselves. It's very sad. Last but not least, this ought to be interesting. I've got Diamine's Writer's Blood. And this is just notorious for not so much being super wet or feathering, this ink holds a lot of weight. And it does tend to bleed through more than other inks. But I don't know, it's not a wetter ink to me. I think it's a little drier than some, but it packs a lot of pigment. It's gorgeous. And I say it's a slightly drier ink. It's one of the only inks where it actually gets crusty on the inside. That's actually a tip. I don't do it nearly as often as I should. I used to be really good about this. But every time you take the cap off of your ink, just wipe it off with a damp paper towel. It will prolong the life of the ink in the bottle. It will keep it from being messy. And this is my Lamy White Silver. It should be a medium nib. It is. Okay, well, looks like I'm in for an unpleasant Moleskine experience with this one. Oh my goodness. Like even with this one, with the paper being as bizarre, let's see if I can get to a page I can actually show you. because this was one I just kind of inked up. Even with the paper being thicker and kind of weird, like it would take ink and show it off just fine. But yeah. I don't like this. I'd been having pretty good luck with the extra large sizes, so I was fairly confident that it was going to be at least decent. I had no idea that it would be this bad. Oh well, see if I can't get through it. If I really honestly can't stand it, I might have to swap it out to something else. Thank you so much for watching. I'd love to know what your current thoughts are on Moleskine. Have you sworn them off completely, or is it a product you're still trying to stick to like myself? Thank you so much for watching.